In today's video, everything that Timothy did to go from looking like this to looking like this in 90 days, losing 40 pounds. We're gonna talk about his diet. We're gonna talk about his cardio. We're gonna talk about his training. We're also gonna talk about what happened following up his entering our transformation challenge. From start to finish, what were the biggest changes, like weights and measurements and things like that?
My goal initially was to lose 30 pounds. And once that became attainable, as I just started seeing my numbers, I raised the bar and took that up to 40. And I finished just short of that, like 39.4 pounds total.
That's
Um,
insane.
I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled about it. And my pants, I was starting to fit into stuff I haven't since college. So I mean, I went from over 34 to a 30 waist, and just feels awesome.
So that's 40 pounds is like a small child. That is a lot to carry around.
Yeah.
Um, that's remarkable. And you lost 4 inches off your waist, you said. So obviously kind of a new wardrobe. And obviously people around you are probably noticing some pretty big differences.
So after losing about 40 pounds, that got me down to about 167. I'm about 175, which I think for me, especially somebody that does lift, that feels
Yeah.
great. Lifting not on a deficit right now has been awesome. So I mean, it's just a shot in the arm. But yeah, I feel like the genius of the transformation challenge is it just equips you and hooks you up to the tools, the resources, the lifestyle things that you can continue to do going forward. For me, my absolute kind of cornerstone activity is a morning walk. And so it's not a crazy walk, but it's about 3 miles. And so I've just learned throughout the challenge just kind of how to break up my day to kind of get to my walking goals, because I did over 2 million steps in the challenge. I got just over, which is about 22,500 a day. I thought, I can modify this, but I figured out the layout of the day, and that hasn't changed. So starting with my morning walk in 3 miles, that means if I kind of have an average day for me just living, I'll end up over 6 miles. And that's good enough to kind of maintain my weight.
Did you use any of the resources? Because this challenge, we included a lot more meal plans and training plans than we ever had, and we're actually going to be doing more of that in the next one. We found that, that's part of the value there. So were you utilizing any of those resources?
Yeah, especially like just the macro targets. And so some of the meals, but I will say I personally got the most value from the forums and just the
Yeah, the
communicating
community.
with other people doing the challenge, getting their cheat codes. I remember messaging everybody, yo, what is your protein hack? What is delicious that's got a ton of protein or whatever? And I got so much good stuff that it's still in my refrigerator, and it's gonna still be there because I just found the stuff that works. But
Let's talk about calorie ranges. What was do you remember like your calorie or macro ranges when you started and finished?
yeah, I took those all down for you, and I was actually surprised because I averaged it all out last night. But when it was all said and done, the for the whole program, I did about 1,750 calories per day, just around 150 grams of protein per day, 50 grams of fat per day, and 140 carbs per day,
Yeah.
is what it totaled out being. That's probably somewhere I would adjust if I were to go back and do it a little differently. I would definitely probably up the protein, maybe even up the carbs a little bit. But I found just as I was going through it, the days that I lifted or went to the gym, I handled my protein differently. It's probably because I'm following up the lift with a protein shake and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'd definitely be more mindful of that for more consistent protein intake if I were to do this all again.
Yeah, I think especially when you're not lifting, your hunger signals might be a little bit lower. But for you to be dropping that much weight over the course of 12 weeks, what was your life like prior to the challenge? Were you just eating out? Were you drinking 2 liters of soda? Like what was your nutrition like?
Uh, I think it was just broken kind of my thing is I love to eat and I love to drink. Like the actual act of doing it, I have a hard time just restraining myself. So when I went throughout the challenge, what I talked about with the morning walk slash waiting to eat a little bit longer, that was a restriction tool that I've now kind of adopted since then. But before, it's like I can have as big a breakfast as I want, and I can have a big as it's kind of just whatever I want to do. But now it's much more targeted. It's just like
Yeah.
kind of what's my budget? What do I want to kind of plan ahead for? And that's the make or break. Is it just wandering through life having a general sense of I think I'm healthy, or I know what it's going to take for me to be healthy and I'm going to plan that out. And that's night and day.
My theory now is that our metabolism does not change. We change to the point that we
Yeah.
require less calories, but we continue to eat the same amounts.
Yep.
Um, because we just move less throughout life. Like, whenever I ask somebody like, okay, well, when I do my client consultations, I go, what time of your life were you like the leanest? And usually it's like high school. And okay, what was think about high school. Most of us like either walked to school, rode a bike to school, or walked around
Yeah.
campus all day.
Yeah.
We're not doing that anymore. We're waking
Yeah.
up, rolling out of bed, hopping in a car.
And that was the hardest thing for me. You're exactly right. Like I played multiple sports, high school, college, and intramurals on top of it. And all that activity was just in the flow of my day. Once that changed, I thought, man, how could my metabolism flip a switch like this? Well, it was just my behavior.
That's my new catchphrase. Body fat isn't stubborn, people are. What's your next goal? Like, obviously, you did the challenge. It's
Yeah.
been a minute. Like, are you focused on anything right now?
As far as my own fitness goes, like I think I've just learned enough about myself to just know like I need a target to really hit to be at my best. And so my wife, she wasn't able to do the summer sculpture, but she wants to do the fall program. So like
Perfect.
I'm going to go through that with her and just help her reach her goals. And I hope that as well for some of my other friends.
Yeah. And any other thing you want to share, or like, because we talked about the nutrition, the training, the community. Anything else from your experience you want to share?
I would just encourage anybody that's just thinking about it, just to do it, just to take the plunge and to do this for yourself. And whether you lose 40 pounds or 20 pounds or 15, it's well worth it. And it took me a second try to really put everything together. So it is a process and it's always going to be a journey. But I couldn't be more thrilled with the results. And want to thank my dad again, Phil, for tipping me off to your channel. And yeah, so thanks for taking
Yeah,
me
I
through this
think,
journey.
honestly, these kind of talks remind me why I love doing what I do. Um, and it encourages me to continue doing it because sometimes,
Yeah.
it can feel like, I don't know if the message is getting out there as much. But
Mm,
obviously, with the challenge coming up, I'm going to be, talking about you and sharing your story. So that's
thanks.
exciting. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this interview with Timothy. What I would like to invite you guys to do is click the link below, and I'm going to give you the option to get registered for our next challenge. You can also sign up to be notified of any future challenges that we're going to have. Hopefully you guys have a great day and enjoyed this interview. Let me know your questions below. I want to help you guys reach your physique and fat loss goals, and I'm here to help.